Well, you know what they say. Spend $200 on a goddamn kickstand and an hour to install it, but you're still gonna use the dirt as a kickstand. But what are you gonna do? Anyways, I want to talk about Yamaha'S right now. And if you're a Yamaha rider, don't worry, I'm not talking shit about Yamaha. So Yamaha, however the hell you want to say it, they have that model YZFX, whatever, where the air box is right here in the front, where the gas tank normally is. So the air box is right here where my gas tank would be, and then their gas tank is underneath the sink, or underneath the sink, what the fuck? Underneath the seat where the air filter normally is, right? Now, it makes total sense on why they did that, right? I will admit, yes, they had a legitimate reason to do it. Put the air box at the front of the bike where it'll get more air, and the air that's going into it is a lot more clean, so it's cleaner air. And then having the tank underneath the seat helps lower the center of gravity, so yeah, I'm all for that. But the problem is that I see is that if any dirt bike rider has ridden dirt bikes long enough, you have been roosted by other riders whether it be on purpose or on accident. Either way, y'all have seen me riding with Martin or 650R Cowboy, and I'd get up on him and then he takes off and I get roosted. It ain't his fault, he ain't doing it on purpose, right? He ain't doing it on purpose. But if you've been out to, you know, Glamis enough times, or just in the desert period where it's been dry as hell like it always is, and you're riding with other people who are in front of you, they're kicking up dust, kicking up sand, dirt, all this other shit. if you're behind them, all that dirt and dust is gonna go right into your airbox. And I mean, don't get me wrong, there's nothing you can do to prevent your air filter from not getting dirty, period. No matter how much prevention you do, no matter how many times you clean it, no matter how much oil, air filter oil you use, shit's gonna get dirty no matter what. That's what happens. That's what it's there for. To collect as much dirt as possible from going into your engine and destroying your engine. So yeah, it is smart, but really at the end of the day, how smart really can it be? It's still gonna get dirty no matter what. Now the whole thing with the gas tank underneath the seat, okay, so how much weight do you think actually went further down with having the tank underneath the seat? And how much further down did that weight really go by putting it underneath the sink? Or underneath the seat? Why the hell do I keep saying sink? Okay, put your gas tank underneath the kitchen sink, and let's just call it that. If your gas tank's got it underneath the kitchen sink, then you're doing it all wrong. Yeah, so that was the whole point. Yamaha, you nailed it. We were supposed to put the gas tank underneath the kitchen sink so the wife doesn't see it, I guess. I don't know. I'm not married, so I don't know what married people do to hide things from their significant other. I don't know. So, but the whole thing is, I haven't ridden a most recent model Yamaha with that seat under, or the tank underneath the seat, in order for me to tell you an honest opinion on how good or bad that weight distribution really is. Now, what I can tell you from my personal experience with this bike is, yes, I went from a 1.8 gallon tank to a 3.5 gallon tank, as some of y'all know or might not know. You know, either way, I'm either telling you what I did or reminding you of what I did. Now, when I did that, I put on double the amount of fuel on my bike, which dramatically added a good 20 pounds worth of weight to the bike. Yes, that was definitely noticeable, adding 20 pounds worth of weight onto my bike. Now, if I were to add or take away 1 or 2 pounds of weight in total off this bike, would I notice it? I don't know, to tell you the truth. But 20 pounds worth of fuel that is not stationary because it sloshes around, it is definitely noticeable no matter what. 20 pounds worth of stationary weight or a viable weight that moves around, or whatever the hell you want to call it, viable weight, or what, I don't know what fucking word I'm looking for to describe some, like, viscosity, I don't know, viable viscosity or whatever that word is. That, yeah, y'all get the point. But anyways, I'm going off topic. So my whole thing is yes, adding that 20 pounds of weight was definitely noticeable. Now that I've used probably about 3/4 of a gallon to 1 gallon of gas, the bike feels a little bit more nimble compared to an hour and a half ago when it was full. Right? That's just common sense. You have less weight, the bike feels more nimble. Anyways, Yamaha was having that the tank underneath the seat. Yeah, I can understand, okay, lower center of gravity, put the weight difference more towards the center of the bike compared towards the front or back, so on and so forth. Try to make the bike a little bit more balanced. But at the same time, that's almighty fine and dandy. I will give them that positive critique 100%, that was smart thinking for them to do. Put the tank underneath the seat, try to make the weight more centered on the bike, try to bring it the center of weight or gravity a little bit lower. I'm all for that. I got sick and tired of all those rocks. And there goes a rock right there. Whew. Get out of this shit. So yeah, anyways, having the weight distributed a little bit lower and more centered, I'm all for that, and I can understand that completely, and I respect that, and you got no negative comments from that aspect on my opinion. The only critique that I have would be, yeah, if you wanted to use that bike as a trail bike like I am here, granted, Cletus here was never intended to do this, what I'm doing now. He was built for the track. That's why it's called the SX, which is a supercross model of KTM. And that's why you got XC, XCW, and all that, which is Enduro Cross, or EXC, and all, like all that Enduro Cross bullshit and all that. Anyways, so if you wanted to take the Yamaha YZ-FX 250 or whatever size bike you get in that model and put a bigger gas tank on it, like I did, I think there's a limited amount of ability to do that. Because maybe there's companies that make bigger tanks for that model and sizes of bikes. I don't know. Like I said, I don't own that kind of bike. And if there is, I don't know what sizes of how much bigger of a tank you can really go. I think Vegas Romaniac said you can go to like a 4.2 gallon tank on that bike, because he's got the YZ250FX and he's got the stock 2.1 gallon tank. I guess you can put a 4 gallon, or I don't know, but, and I think I've seen a Yamaha YZ250FX with a 4.5 gallon tank, but it drops down behind between the rear shock and the tire. Now, my only concern about having the gas tank between the shock and the rear tire is if you hit something a certain way with that back tire and it kicks up a rock, if it picks up a big enough rock and throws it at your gas tank hard enough, it will probably crack your gas tank and possibly even put a little hole in it, I don't know, and then there goes all your gas, right? So you're basically going up shit creek without a paddle basically at that point, because like right here, right, I'm, as a crow flies, probably about 2.5 miles in a straight line, 2 miles from my truck, 2 to 3 miles from my truck. That's as a crow flies going that way. As a dirt biker, like, you know, out here on the trails, it could be like 4 or 5. So yeah, I don't know, like, I know I'm just kind of rambling and I'm making this video a little bit longer than it should be, and you're probably not interested or skip past, like, whatever, I don't know, but at least y'all get, like, kind of get where I'm coming from with that, and that's just my opinion on that whole thing of, yeah, it's all mighty fine and dandy, but, and I understand why they did it, I respect why they did it, but from my standpoint as a dirt bike rider who lives out in the desert and deals with this kind of stuff, now if you live somewhere back east or up north or whatever, where y'all are in the woods and shit, y'all don't have really any dust at all or really any rocks where y'all ride at, and y'all don't have to worry about it, then that's a whole nother story. But or if y'all just ride track and not desert. But like my whole thing is like I said in my last video that I made prior to this one, I like interacting with my bike. I like having my bikes be a little bit on the heavier side because I want to feel like I'm actually riding a goddamn bike. Now, I know my 270-pound dirt bike ain't shit compared to, you know, a 450-pound sport bike or a 700-pound plus Harley or Cruiser or whatever, but 270 pounds in the soft sand's a lot of weight. And yeah, so see, front tire wanted to almost wash out right there, and I was able to counteract that shit real quick. And I know a lot of people also like to feel like they're sitting in the bike instead of sitting on top of a bike. Completely different with riding dirt bikes. Yeah, sitting in the bike would be nice, but sitting in the bike does not give you more control over the bike in any situation out here in the dirt. You kind of want to be more upright on the bike. You see, like all this sand up in here, right? If I was sitting in the bike, it'd be all mighty fucking dandy, but I can control this bike a little bit better sitting on it instead of sitting in it. And I don't know if any of that, what I just said, makes sense or not, of sitting in the bike or on the bike, but you know, I can understand if you're, you know, riding a street bike of some kind, Harley or sport bike, whatever, and you want to sit in the bike so you can feel like you're, I don't know, it's just, see, like that, the whole back end was just all kicked out sideways right there, coming over that little bump back there. See, because see, riding a dirt bike out here, you're doing a lot of back and forth. Hey, look, a milk crate. I've been looking for one of them fuckers. This is bullshit that pisses me off. Why do I not have my gun on me right now? But anyways, love you all, be safe, catch you guys on the flip side.